welcome to my home. My name is Maryah Greene. I go by the plant doctor and stylist and founder of Greenpeace, and this is a greenhouse. Come on in. Okay, this is my kitchen. This is where I attempt to cook at home at least once a day, but it doesn't actually happen. Uber Eats and Grubhub, that's my life. But I really like baking. Anytime I got really stressed or had way too much to do, I would just start baking, whether it's cupcakes, muffins, cake, or I'd make like a really long recipe in like this massive pot. I make coffee. I make too much coffee. For someone who really advocates watering plants religiously, I don't drink enough water, so we're not going to talk about coffee anymore. So I have this little pothos here. I tend to move it when I'm cooking hot things because I don't want it to be affected by steam or intense heat, but I thought, why don't I just put a piece of greenery as if I'm looking outside anyway? So that's what it does for me. You can also kind of see these like shot glasses. I'm really proud of these. I thrifted these. They're little cactuses. I don't think I've taken a shot out of them before, but maybe we can do that before y'all go. That would be fun. Actually, I mean, you want to just take a shot right now? We could do it real quick. Hold on. We're not getting no work done later on, I can tell you that. Cheers, thank you for coming. Okay, let's go over to the main living room and the dining area, which sounds so grown to say because I haven't had either of those in my own apartment yet. This is my dining area. I don't eat over here that much. I think I saw myself entertaining. I envisioned a ton of people in my apartment all the time, but this turned into like my office space where I take Zoom calls because I have the massive plant, which I'll talk about in a second. And then some of my really meaningful moments in life. So the bird of paradise. When I moved into this apartment, I saw how tall these ceilings were, and I was like, if I'm ever gonna do it super big with a plant, it's gotta be in this apartment. So I went big. I got the biggest bird of paradise I could find. I potted it, and it probably took me a good 45 minutes to pot. So this is the New York Times article that I was in. I think it was in 2019, and I'm super proud of that because that was sort of the moment where I was like, okay, I'm doing something right. I was sort of in this space of trying to decide, is this what I really want to do? And once I was in this article, I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep it rolling and do more stuff with plants. And then right next to it is a picture I painted for my grandmother. I have no idea how old I was when I painted it. I'm gonna guess around 5 or 6. And she's always had it hanging in her space, and until she passed away, it then became mine. And I thought, wow, it kind of feels like foreshadowing in some ways. So having these together, it just feels very full circle in some ways. I just love really like dainty, quirky things. Like we got ass at the table. Who doesn't want ass at the table? So this is my favorite vase. This is my living area. I saw this couch on Pinterest years ago before I even had this apartment, and I was like, I need to get this couch. I looked it up. It was like a $50,000 couch from Italy, and I was like, okay, go off. I'm gonna need to start selling feet pics. So I was walking around Brooklyn one day, I saw this couch, and it's like a knockoff of the original, and I got this thing for like $400, and I was like, bet, I'm taking it. It's not comfortable at all, but I feel cute when I sit on it, and I feel like I have my life together. This is the love of my life. This coffee table, it was the first thing I bought in here before any other piece of furniture. I like to just keep random little knickknacks on it. These are some of my favorite books that I read every now and then. The World of Cacti and Succulents, and then some foliage houseplant books. And then this beautiful baby is a plant that we're collaborating on. This is my baby Monstera. I potted her, God, I think it's been like a month now, and she's grown so much. But I just love how the pink and the yellow and the baby blue, like it just feels very like dainty and chic. I'm a colorful person. I just love having bright colors in my apartment. Now this is my little bookshelf. It has all my like Sometimes I have little knickknacks there. Other times I like put my favorite books. Currently it's a ton of my favorite books. Most of these are for aesthetic, like container gardening, terrariums, in the company of women. But the most important is some of my like favorite picture books. I tend to rotate them out every now and then. Arlo Draws an Octopus is one that I read pretty regularly. So yeah, I like to start my day in this chair sometimes with a picture book and like a cup of tea, and it's my moment to just figure out, okay, why is it you do the things that you do? And what is your actual goal when you go through all the small things that like make up your day? Remember all the little things that keep you grounded. Before we talk about this Monstera, I just want to show off this pillow. I paid way too much for this pillow, but it makes me really happy because it's a knot. And if I'm in a meeting and I get really anxious or something, I'd like unknot it, or I'll like put it back in a knot. I just think it's really funky, but that's my knot pillow. Okay, the Monstera. I got this Monstera Deliciosa, I think like a month after I moved into the apartment, and I knew I wanted a massive Monstera in my place. Like it was really important. And so when I potted it, it probably was like this tall, and she's just like taken over my entire corner here. It just felt like the perfect corner for a plant because it extends backwards. It's probably the one that I care for the most, in the sense that like I make a point before I come over here and read my children's book or whatever I do that morning. I missed it. I wipe down the leaves to make sure there's no dust on it. And I also water it because the pot is so massive. It stays moist for so long. I only water it like once every month. So as soon as I pay rent, I pick up the watering can and then I go water the plant. Like that's how my mind works. I have to associate caring for my plant with some dreadful task so that it balances out and I feel like everything's okay. So I water her on the first. Okay, so that's everything downstairs. This is where I like to just like get work done, chill, have people over. But when I need to just completely unwind and disconnect, I go upstairs. So I made this rule a while ago that I try my very best not to have screens upstairs, whether it's phone, laptop. I'm not really that good at following it, but I am good at making sure that I don't shoot too much content up there, because I didn't want to create this space of my whole home is for public consumption. So I'm gonna take you upstairs and show you why I like to keep it separate. So the plants I have hanging from the ceiling, again, when I saw the ceiling or this really like tall wall, I was like, I have to do something here. At first I envisioned a mural and I was like, okay, get real, Maryah. And then I discovered Wally Grow planters and I was like, okay, it seems pretty easy to water them. I just have to unhook them, take them to the sink, or somehow get up with my watering can. But they've grown so long since I've gotten them and they're so happy. So it was kind of just my way of like creating an art piece in the ceiling and having them grow down. Eventually I want them all trailing and connecting together, but for now, I'm just gonna let them grow down. Okay, this is my bedroom. This is my peace, my safe haven. This is where I like get to fully disconnect, and like, it's kind of nice having a separation between like where I do all of my work, my laptop, all that, and then the space where I'm either up here taking a nap or really going to bed at night. This is random artwork I have up. They're all like stock images. I wanted to have artwork that wouldn't make me think much about anything. Things that just were like aesthetically pleasing to the eye, so I could just completely turn off and zone out when I'm up here. Now, when it comes to plants that like mean a lot to me, this is probably, I'm not supposed to have favorites because then they'll all hear me, but this one's kind of my favorite. I got it when it was like a baby. I would say like probably this tall, and it's just grown so much. I'm gonna turn her so you can really see all her sides. But she's so happy up here, and I feel like at least once or twice a week, like I'm seeing a new leaf. Like she thrives up here. Yeah, I'm just really proud of her. She does need to be dusted quite often though. Like I can see it and it turns me off. So I try to do it once a week. I make tea. I might start downstairs and read a book, and then I'll come back upstairs and then I'll wipe it down. This is my Pilea plant. I got this plant. I had a really big installation. This was like probably 8 months ago. And so it was the day of the installation. And I find out that I need a certain amount of insurance coverage to go into this really bougie building. And I'd spent all the money on the plants. The clients were waiting for me. And then I found out I could not go deliver the plants. And I was heartbroken. I was anxious. I was like, it was probably one of the worst work slash like career experiences in my life, because I thought that I just failed and I had everything prepared and I wasted thousands of dollars on plants that I couldn't deliver. Anyway, I say all that to say that I always wanted a pilea plant, and so I got one, and I thought every time I see a new leaf or I look back to when I first got it, I'm gonna think, wow, remember how tiny it was and how far you've come from that moment. I always recommend that people get a plant on their hard days so they can look back at how much the plant has grown and then also how much you've grown. So this is another super important plant of mine. So yeah, it's just a golden pothos, but it's actually a cutting from my great-grandmother's golden pothos. So my great-grandmother, also known as Nana, is 98 years old, and she's had a pothos for I don't even know how long. She doesn't know how long. She hates when I ask. But I have this cutting because I like to think that I'll just always have a piece of her. And it started with one leaf, and now she is booming. I like to have it sleeping right over my head with me. And yeah, I love her. It's just a little piece of home, piece of my Nana. Well, that's everything. Thank you so much for coming into my home. It was nice having you all. Anytime Grounded wants to come by, y'all are always welcome. Keep up with me on Instagram. I'm always posting. TikTok is where I do hot girl shit. And you can visit yourgreenfeast.com for any upcoming events or any other fun stuff. Thank you for coming.